Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, John?
I'm great. So, Vanessa from Nascere Winery, you brought a rosé for us to try.
We did.
I see some cheesecake out here.
Uh-huh.
So, walk us through the wine and maybe what we do with the cheesecake with it.
All right, great.
Yeah.
I will. Well, this is our wine. It's a Mourvedre rosé. We actually call it the Ridge Rosé. We named it after the Ridge Paradise because we actually released this wine in 2019, right after the devastating Camp Fire. We have close ties to the Ridge, and I know everyone's pretty connected in some way or another in Butte County to that incident. So my husband and I thought long and hard about how we would be able to give back in some way.
Yeah.
So we named this wine after the Ridge, and we decided to donate 20% of all of our sales in 2019 from this wine to the North Valley Community Foundation for the Camp Fire Relief Fund. Yeah. So that's where the name comes from. The grape in this rosé is a Mourvedre. It's
Okay.
So when we taste a wine, first you want to get your first bouquet.
Okay.
Smell.
Do I swirl?
Well, you can get your second bouquet after a swirl.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So a lot of times
first.
when you're tasting, you'll do a smell.
Okay.
And then you can swirl. And then you can get your second bouquet.
And why the two bouquets?
Well, because a wine typically has layers.
Okay.
So when you smell and then you re-smell, it really unveils layers. And then when you're pairing it with a food, so what I chose to bring today is cheesecake from the Joker's Bakery, which is a local company. Do you like cheesecake?
Who doesn't like cheesecake?
Okay, I know we have really hard jobs today. Okay, so I chose to pair it with cheesecake for a couple reasons. Well, do you want to taste it first, then we'll talk about what we're tasting?
Yeah, great. So do I do wine first, cheese first?
So what we're going to do is we're going to taste the wine,
Okay.
We'll take a bite of cheesecake, and then we'll retaste the wine.
Great.
Okay.
With wine in my mouth or swallow the wine?
Swallow the wine.
Great.
Okay, so we'll taste first.
Delightful.
So what I really get on this wine is a lot of red fruit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's pretty typical for a valley wine. It is the grapes, these Mourvedre grapes actually come from North Chico.
Okay.
So it is a valley wine. It's lots of heat means lots of fruit flavored characteristics in our wine. But it is dry, so it's not sweet. So now let's take a bite of our cheesecake. So I chose a raspberry cheesecake because that's a congruent pairing, something similar to the wine. I want to showcase that raspberry in my wine, so that's why I chose this. And then let's take another sip of the wine. And you can slurp it a little bit, get it all the way around your mouth. You don't have to try to be polite about it. You can make noises if you need to.
Thank you for the permission.
Yeah. So we'll have fun with it. So what I'm noticing here is I'm really getting a lot more of that red fruit now.
Absolutely.
Now that I have that raspberry. The other thing is that when you have like a white wine or a rosé, it tends to have a little bit more acid. And so then you have something creamy that has a fat base to it. And that's a complementary pairing. The two really complement each other a lot. And it actually brings out a little bit of creaminess in the wine itself.
So then would you recommend this as a more of a dessert pairing, or just because the two have the interplay between the two complexities that's why we're doing it this way? Right,
that's a great question, John. So a rosé is the quintessential afternoon wine, in my opinion. You think of yourself in Provence, sitting there with a charcuterie board. It's really easy to pair. It's such a food-friendly wine, but it has those red fruit characteristics, so it's also easy to pair with a dessert. Now, I think a lot of people look at a red wine, or a rosé, and they think sweet. And I think a lot of that misconception comes from the white Zinfandel wine. A lot of times that wine is made with residual sugars. So it actually has a sweetness, but this wine itself is fermented to dryness. So it isn't sweet, but it does have that fruit characteristic.
So personally, I tend to like the drier side of things because I find it just much more appealing, and I feel like, over an evening or an afternoon for that matter, it's just easier to kind of go back to and continue to enjoy a glass of that rather than just getting that saccharine kind of overload in there. So this seems like something that kind of balances out quite nicely.
And it is. It really is a food-friendly wine. I've paired it with salmon burgers and grilled zucchini. It held up to the salmon just fine. A charcuterie board, if you're looking for something just to put together for some guests quickly, you could
Or yourself.
Yeah. Right? Enjoy an afternoon with a charcuterie board. Put some fruit on it. Put a mild cheese.
Yeah.
Crackers. You could even put some crackers with cream cheese and a little jelly to mimic that fruit pairing. It's very easy to pair this wine with food.
So besides this, what else are you guys producing out there and kind of showcasing with your vineyard?
Yeah,
and it's with your husband, correct? I mean, you're pretty homegrown. The two of you have started this together, so it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, with our vineyard, my husband and I, Jess is his name. Let's see, our winery's been open since 2016, but we've been farming since 2010.
Gotcha.
And so we grow the Italian varietals. They were actually planted when we purchased the vineyard.
And that's kind of part of the name too?
Yeah, so that our name is Nascere, and it's Italian for to be born. And so that name just spoke to us because we're first-generation winemakers, first-generation grape farmers.
Yeah.
We actually had our oldest son was born in our home on our Pinot Grigio harvest, and so he's our Pinot Grigio baby. So, to be born is just the word for us.
Love it. Yeah.
And so we grow the Italian varietals, Pinot Grigio, Sangiovese, and Barbera. So we make all three of those estate-grown wines. Mm-hmm. We also have about 11 different wines that we pour at our tasting room. Wow. We love to purchase grapes from local vineyards. Sustainability is really important to us. The local movement is really important to us. So as nearby as we can keep the fruit, we like to do that. And we also like to showcase that there's great fruit here in Butte County and surrounding areas.
Amazing things happening here.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, you guys have been able to kind of pivot and do some different things and keep people coming to your location. I mean, this guy back here, right? You guys have done this just to keep people coming and doing tastings and things like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I love this. This is our self-guided wine
I'm going to set it back down.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so my husband's really crafty. He's great with building things and repurposing, reusing. Yeah. So that is a wine carrier that he made. We have 7 different crafts, and we'll pour 7 different wines in there. Mm-hmm. And so, right now, I think we're all used to adapting to current times.
Yeah, right.
Right? Yep. And so when we got the news about the coronavirus and then we were able to reopen, we really wanted to keep everyone safe, our staff safe, our customers safe, and follow precautions as necessary. So we decided to use the self-guided tastings. Mm-hmm. It just kind of reduces a little bit of that back and forth between servers and customers.
Right.
And then we have the chalkboard on the front, and what we do is we fill up the crafts and we number them and label them, and so customers know how their tasting will flow. Yeah. But we don't leave them hanging. We always come out, we talk, we're there to discuss the wines, and yeah.
So, I mean, the customary thing is kind of, taste light to dark. Do you recommend that in there, or do you say just go for it and taste what you want and kind of figure it out?
Well, I'm a rule breaker, so...
Great, me too.
Yeah. I'm okay with bending the rules a little bit and tasting how you like. Of course, we do try to follow a light to dark, just to, it helps with your palate and with tasting wines. But... if you backtrack, there's no judgment.
Just go back to that favorite one every time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm loving this, and you guys do make some really great things. Where can people get this, and how can they get their hands on something from you? Yeah,
so we sell predominantly through our tasting room.
Okay.
Okay, so we are doing online sales and curbside pickups for those people who don't feel comfortable, being out in public at this point.
Right.
And we're available 7 days a week to accommodate those sales. So it's very easy. We're only less than 10 minutes from Chico. We also are open on the weekends for longer hours, so you can come and you can sit and taste and then purchase. We are at Sonry Family Foods, so we have wine there for sale as well.
Perfect.
And then we're at a few local restaurants, Unwind, Red Tavern, Wine Time.
Great.
So you can find our wine on the menu there.
Fantastic. Anything else you'd like to share before we kind of disembark on this tasting?
Well, I just feel right now is such a challenging time for all. So I hope that, everyone enjoys the tasting boxes, gets some time to just enjoy their close friends and family. Yeah. And I hope it brings joy to their lives because we all need a little bit of it. Oh,
I couldn't agree more. And I think really great that you guys are part of the farm trail, and I think reaching maybe a different audience that might not have known about you guys just because of the small nature and a kind of organic approach that you guys do take to your winemaking. So it's really cool to share that story.
Oh, well, thank you. We appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody.